just got the elite, Toby.
I have got the elite. Got my favourite.
Yeah.
We'll make sure everybody knows that next week.
Yeah, please do. Right then. So, today we are going to go through our lifestyle seminar. So it's a third of our 3, and we've covered so far, obviously, your nutrition and your training intensity with Pat. So kind of the things that go mainly inside the gym, and the things that are really, really important. But today, as it says on the board, there's more to life than the gym. What I mean by that is there's a lot more that goes on around the gym than just what we do in it. So you've got your sleep, your stress, your daily behaviours, your alcohol, your individual context. So these are things we're going to cover today, but it's more. It's more about kind of how these things outside of the gym affect what we do. So, as I said, with your daily, all of these things, all good? Yeah. All of these things have a massive impact to play, and it doesn't matter how much we do inside the gym if these things are a bit out of whack. So, the first one is our sleep. So, the secret is like the best of the best. There's nothing that comes close to the impact, the importance of sleep. So the big graph on the board there, pretty much that shows that the more sleep we get, this is in relation to injury. So as sleep increases, you'll see your injury risk decreases. So we want to be around that 6, 7, 8 mark. If we're any higher, we also start to increase our risk of injury because we're sleeping too much, and then all of our muscles are kind of seizing up. So there's a myth that the more sleep is always the better. It's not, it's up to a point. But the more important one is less sleep. If you get less than 6 hours, your injury risk skyrockets. So it's really important that we're making sure we're getting our sleep. Also, sleep is a massive component in our muscle repair and our muscle growth. So you do all this hard work in the gym, and we work really, really hard, you all lift really heavy weights, but if you're not getting your sleep, it's kind of just wasted. Because that period of sleep, when we go into REM, and my body's shut down, decompressing from the day, that's when all of our muscles are kind of ticking over and making sure they work. Another really, really important one is your hormone regulation. So as you get older, our hormones start changing, and it might be okay for someone who's younger than me to stay out a little bit later and not have as much sleep, but as you get older, that hormone regulation starts to slow down. If we're not getting our sleep and it doesn't happen, excuse me, that's where things start to lie. So for women, when you get closer to that menopause age, your estrogen levels, if you don't have that sleep, they'll still all be out of whack. Martin, for me and you, for our testosterone, if we're not getting our sleep, it's going to just plummet. And then you'll just not be able to lift weights and you won't be yourself. So, for the main part, we want to make sure that we're getting a little bit more than 6 hours. So that's 7 or 8 hours of sleep a night. It's really, really important. It's also going to make sure that your stress hormone, your cortisol, is nice and low. Because if your stress hormone is really high, that's where we start running into some issues in your day-to-day. Secondly is, leading on from that, is stress. So there's multiple different types of stress. It's really, really, we just say a lot of the time that we're just stressed. But what does that actually mean? We break it down into your work stress, your family stress, your financial stress, your social stress, and your mental and emotional stress. The main 3 that really affect us is our family stress, our social stress, and then our mental and emotional stress. So our physical stresses, so things that we do in the gym, we always take that into account. We need to make sure that we're recovering. But when we look at the things behind the scenes, that's where they start playing a part. So this graph here shows performance, so how we do in the gym, for example, and then our arousal or our stress Our bodies are very, very clever. However, for all of their good doings, they can't really distinguish between what stress is and what stress isn't. So we always want to be in a little bit of stress, and our body's got a little bit keeping us going. Because if you find, you'll find in life, if you don't have anything pushing you forward, you'll be a bit like, right, okay, I don't really understand what my body's doing. So we always want something moving us along, whether that be a goal or a race, for example, down the line, that's keeping us going. So that is our stress. And we want to be in that point, that top bit here, where we're optimal. However, in life, that stress can get pushed up and we get bombarded with things like family, being mums and dads. You've got kids, they provide stress. I know Lorraine, your son, very stressful. Social stress, so your pressures when you go out, how that affects you. All of these things spike your cortisol, and they all link together. So if your stress is high, your cortisol is going to be high, and it means your sleep's going to be low. So you can see how they're starting to link together. Equally, we want to make sure you're kind of keeping in check. With all of these things today, I'm not going to tell you black and white what works, because I'm different to you, and this is very much internal of how my stress and how my body regulates things is going to be different to you, Kelly, and how yours is going to be different to you, Lorraine. So it's kind of just making sure you're keeping in check and having those measures in place to tell you, actually, I know I'm getting a bit stressed, I'm noticing that my lifts might not be going up in the gym. Maybe when I'm coming in, I'm a little bit more agitated than normal. Maybe when we go to, do you think you could go a little bit heavier this week? You actually, I don't want to. I'm not bothered. Is that like you? No. Then you need to take a check and go, actually, maybe work, maybe life outside the gym, maybe there's some stresses going on that are affecting you. So, carrying on, last little thing on this, the importance of it is where this graph lies. So this graph can be at different points at all the different times. So this optimal point, sometimes you don't need as much stress, sometimes you need a bit more of a push. So that means you can have two people do the exact same session, they can push each other at the exact same rate. However, what they're going to get out of that session is going to be completely different. So no two session, we always say it, that no two session is the same individually. So your sessions are all treated individually, but equally, your sessions within yourself. Your Tuesday one week can be very different to your Tuesday the following week. So always bear that in mind and don't beat yourself up if one week you're not feeling how you normally would. Next up, for a lot of us, we've got a daily movement and sedentary behaviour. So we always say how important it is that we're all in the gym and we're living an active lifestyle, but people often get confused between what an active day looks like and what a day of training looks like. So as it says at the top, 1 hour of training a day doesn't always mean an active day. I could go in, I could work an office job, I could lift weights for an hour, and sit down for the rest of the day. Not good. And as you see, this graph shows that the more hours we spend sat down, so sedentary, the higher risk of everything. Our mobility drops, our blood flow decreases, our recovery drops, and our injury risk skyrockets. So the last thing we want to do is spend all that day sedentary, because that, when you pair with an active lifestyle when you're in the gym, actually makes things worse. Because if you've spent the day sedentary, you've got poor blood flow, poor mobility, and that injury risk is sky high, and you come in the gym and bang out some very, very heavy deadlifts, that's where the injuries arise. So that's where you want to promote things like your daily steps. If you work in an office, see if you can keep standing during, I know a lot of offices now allow standing desks. During that lunch break, taking a lot of walks. I know some of you, lunchtime warriors, you come in around 1 o'clock. Martin, if he's got a party on, will come in at 1. Getting those steps in and getting yourself moving. So it's not about, we kind of want to make sure we're breaking those big chunks up. So if you are going to be sat at a desk for a day, seeing if you can do it in 2-hour blocks instead of 5 hours non-stop. You want to make sure we're moving a lot. Any questions so far? No? Big one. Big one now. Alcohol. So this is kind of the, I'd say second to sleep is our most important factor when it comes to people in the gym. They do work really hard during the week, and then they go out at the weekend and they get quite merry. And all this alcohol sets back. So first thing, the more alcohol you have, the poorer your sleep quality goes. So it goes right back to the beginning. And that sleep quality, if it's down, then your injury risk's up, your mood's gonna be down, your stress is gonna be up, and it's all gonna affect. So alcohol per unit skyrockets. So I'm not gonna sit here and say don't drink, because it's not for me to decide. However, per unit of alcohol, it does play an effect. Secondly, for our gym goers, all of you lot that are smashing the gym, the effect of alcohol on protein synthesis and the amount of protein that our body's absorbing and actually turning into muscle, it has a knock-on effect. So when you drink, your body cannot use all that protein that we're working really hard with our nutrition to actually grow. What it does, alcohol is broken down into a chemical in the liver that's toxic, and our body does not like that, so it spends all that time getting rid of that chemical. When that chemical's not present, the body can go, I love this, it's like a clean car, it's like an eco-friendly car, it's breathing really nicely. As soon as that chemical's there, it doesn't do its job properly. So when we've got alcohol in our system, it means that protein synthesis isn't happening, we're not growing our muscles, and we're actually delaying recovery. And this recovery can be on delay for days. So you might drink on the Saturday, and you won't actually start recovering properly till Tuesday. So a lot of people think it's just the day after when they might be a bit groggy and a bit hungover. It's a lot longer than that. Any of you have got Apple Watches or things that track your heart rate, a really important metric that we look at is something called HRV, heart rate variability. If you look at your HRV the day after drinking alcohol, it's completely unbalanced. It'll be like this, up and down, up and down, up and down, because your body's like, I don't like this, foreign chemical, it's not good. Another thing that impacts is your hydration. Pat touched on it when we did our nutrition and the new training intensity seminar, how important it is to be hydrated and how that affects when we train. Same premise outside of the gym. If your hydration is low, your body's not going to be able to recover and your body's not going to be working as it should. When it's got alcohol in the system, it wants to flush out those toxins anyway. If it's dehydrated, it's going to struggle to do that. And then yet again, that level of recovery is pushed back even further. So it's even further down the line where it doesn't work. So, the importance of it, if you can limit, great. If you know you're going to go out, maybe at a weekend, and on a Saturday, you might say, right, I've got an event, I've got a social gathering that I'm going to go to, plan your week of training around it. So you never want to be training after alcohol, and we don't want to be consuming protein, so maybe if you're doing a big session, before we go out. So if, for example, say you're going out on a Friday night, you don't really want to put your training session in at 5 p.m. on a Friday and then go straight to the pub, because you've increased your fatigue from doing the training session. Your body's going to be going, right, I need to rest and recover now, and the alcohol's going, you're not getting any rest and recovery. We're going to go into fight or flight mode here, and we're going to shut down. So try and plan your weeks around those sessions and when you can do your social gatherings. So for example, next week, I've got a birthday party I've got to go to, one of my friends that I went to uni with. I've moved my long run on a Sunday to earlier in the week, so I can just focus on recovery. I'll get my steps in on the Sunday, and that will be me done. So see where you can move things and where you can plan things. One of the last things we're going to touch on is your individual context. So this is kind of where it gets really finite to you. Your age is a massive one. I can sit here and tell you all the signs and all the where and wherefores of how things, but I'm a 23-year-old. Some of you are a bit older than me, so just a bit, only a couple of years. But that all plays a role. how your age and what you've, and it's not just your age in terms of a number, it's what you've done in your life. Some of you have had demanding jobs, some of you might have worked at an office, some of you might have lived abroad and been in hot climates, some of you might have dealt with more stresses. All of these things play a role in the way your body is made up. It's why we see people develop injuries when they do or when they don't develop injuries. So you need to just remember and take stock and go, actually, it's okay. I might not be pushing as well as the person next door to me, but that's fine, because I'm me, and that's okay. Second thing is your training history. Some of you have been training for years and years and years and years, and that's great. Some of you haven't. Remember that, and all of these things that we've touched on, they all get amplified or kind of suppressed depending on that. Someone like Emma, you've been training how many years now, Emma? 10th year of training. Her, when we go back to that cortisol level and that stress that she can take by training, it's a lot higher, a lot further down that end. Emma can take a lot more stress when it comes to how heavy she's lifting than someone who might be newer. It's just the way the body's working. So therefore, if you're newer, you might need to factor in a bit more time for recovery. So we're still making progress, but we're just doing it at different levels and factoring in how we're looking after ourselves outside of the gym. Emma probably knows exactly what her recovery process looks like now, and she's bang on. I remember when I started, I had no clue. I walked into the gym and was like, I don't know, what's this? Where we've all been.
Excuse me.
Bless you. You're at your job demands. So as we touched on, what is your job looking like? If you're more of a desk-based job, how can we kind of negate some of them sedentary behaviours? Getting up, going for your walks. I always take the mick out of Jamie, and he won't mind me saying this. When he comes into 6 PM and he has a hard day at work, he goes, "Call, my legs are tired." And I go, "What do you do?" "Do you work a hard job?" But he does. He's always on his feet, he's always lifting heavy. So he needs to factor in his job demands. So we kind of tailor things. He might not go as heavy when he does his leg sessions, but then when he does his upper body, we might taper it to what's going for Jamie. So I always play into those individual contexts and then those job demands. Big one, family commitments. Parents, a lot of you, if you've got younger kids, you're going to be rushing around a lot. That is an absolute cesspool for cortisol spiking. You'll be stressed all the time, and your stress levels are going to be sky high. Now, we can use the gym, and it really is a really good de-stressor for our mental health, but internally for our actual physical stress and how our body's reacting to that, it's keeping it at a sky high. So take time to go, actually, at the end of the day, if you can, I'm just going to have my 5 minutes and really focus on that 5 minutes, maybe going for a walk on your own, making sure you're getting your fluids in and really working through that. Also, you might have a lot going on in your life and your family. What's going on is also going to play a role in how much you need to train. If you know there's, I don't know, for example, you've got someone going away to uni, your daughter might, son or daughter might be going away to uni, that's quite a stressful part of your life. Maybe tapering back the training for that week. If you actually, everything's going really good, what we hope it is all the time, that's when we can up the training. We don't want you flat out all the time, because that's where the injuries and the things outside happen when we burn out. And then also linking into your training history, you've got your current fitness levels. So where we're all at, and this isn't where you are now in terms of compared to last year, it's directly in terms of where you are from yesterday, where you are from last week. You see, especially this time of year, a lot of people getting ill. You still want you to kind of train if you can and push yourself, but then what can you do? Do you need to come into a session and go, right, feeling a bit under the weather today, chest really tight, right, can we taper down the cardio, but can we up weight session, for example? And also where things are going. We look at injuries are also a breeding ground for cortisol. So all of these internal factors, our body can't distinguish what's really going on. It can't tell you if it's happy, if it's sad. The head can, but the body is just a machine. So if you've got an injury, it doesn't know if that's good, it doesn't know if it's bad. Only our pain receptors are telling us that. So you need to take care when you've got an injury, how hard you're training. And and just maybe take things slower, increase that recovery time in between a set. So maybe instead of working 90 seconds for your rest, you might want to push for 2 minutes, you might want to push for 2 minutes 30. And when I say injuries, I don't mean always big things. So like when your knee goes completely, I'm talking about the little ones, the niggles. Oh, my back's a bit sore today. That's still an injury, still a micro injury. So playing into those and making sure that you let us know as coaches so we can help you, but equally making sure you know. We want to educate you at the end of the day, and that goes for all of your sessions. We don't want to be here, and I'm pretty sure none of you want us to just go, here's the answer. We want you to learn and figure out, and if you can start learning, actually that doesn't feel right, then you're better equipped to make those decisions, where and when. So, key takeaways. I know it's a bit of a short one, but key takeaways: sleep. Above all, that should be your priority. It doesn't matter if you do the 1%, which is training, the nutrition, and you go flat out. If the 99% isn't there, and that is your sleep, everything falls down. You've got to build a good foundation before the house starts going up. And if that sleep isn't there, everything crumbles. And I mean everything. Your mental health will go, your training will go, the level you're pushing will go, and it will spiral. And we've all been there, but one thing goes and it gets worse and worse and worse. So if you struggle with things like sleep, good things, magnesium, really good one. Making sure and having a look at how long your sleep is. Try and keep a regimen for your sleep. So for me, it's always around that 9:30. I'll switch off. I'll try and take my screens away an hour beforehand, try and decompress, and then I'm straight in. And I try to keep that every day of the week. If you can keep a routine, like how we do with training, things start to progress. Your daily movement, we want to make sure we're trying to get your steps in, keep active, keep moving. It doesn't always have to be flat out, it doesn't always have to be running and things like that. It can just be going to the shops, maybe playing with the kids, doing things like that, maybe going bowling. Depends how serious you take it. Pat was very serious last week.
Oh, Pat was.
He was.
I'm sorry, Mr. One Pin Toby.
I'm one pin well out for a reason.
Go savage. Savage every time one pin would not go down.
Stress, a really important one as well. And we want to just keep check of that. So making sure internally that we're keeping on top of it. And if you ever need any help, reach out to one of us. You can all reach out to each other. You've got the group chat there for a reason, but also us as coaches, we're always here. You've got our numbers, you've got our things. You can always reach out and just go, right, I'm actually feeling a little bit at the moment, and we can always change things in session. We're seeing what we can do outside of session. And then the big one, that alcohol. Try and be clever with it. Like I said in the beginning, I'm not going to tell you how to live your lives. You're all older than me, and you'll tell me to clear off, and rightly so. But I can educate you and say, be clever with your choices, seeing where you can move them habits, where you can think. If you're going out and you're only going out socially, maybe swapping to a non-alcoholic option. There's good ones out there now that you can still feel like you're included. I know there's a peer pressure that you don't want to be there with maybe a soft drink when other people are drinking, seeing what alternatives are there. Or if you are going to drink, when we're going to drink, and planning our training around it. And then lastly, as we just touched on, those individual contexts, remembering you're you, and that at the end of the day, we come to the gym all to lift weights, but you're all on your own journeys, and you're all on your own little paths, and that's perfectly fine. Not just goals, but where we're going, where we've come from. They're not the same, and they're not one and the same, and that's perfectly fine. It's very easy. I always make a big thing of it. It's easy to fall into the trap of comparing yourself to other people. Emma's got a way better deadlift than me, and it does annoy me, and I'll always compare myself to her. But Emma's been training a lot longer than I have, and that's fine. And remembering where you're coming and where you're going is really important. That's it for me. So if there's any questions, go ahead.
It's the whole sleep thing.
Go on.
No, I am really lucky if I manage 4 hours
Okay.
and then I'm just awake or I'm dozing. And, you know, giving up alcohol, giving up sugar, all the things that make a blind bit of difference.
Yeah. So when you're looking at your sleep, is it the getting to sleep that's the issue? It's just the waking up.
It's
Staying
asleep.
So you want to look at maybe adding in some supplementation that's going to help with, so like I said, magnesium and zinc, your big two sleep supplements, and they help with not only the level of sleep, so we have our light sleep, our deep sleep. We always joke around that someone might be a deep sleeper and they can sleep through everything, but we go in stages across the night. So we have our light sleep where we're just kind of setting off, we've got our deep sleep where our body shuts down, and then we've got our REM sleep where our body's ticking over and our brain is decompressing from the day. That's why when you wake up during REM sleep, that's when you can remember your dreams. If you're taking, you haven't got enough zinc or magnesium, that's where we can keep ourselves in that deeper sleep for longer. We're more likely to wake up during that light sleep. So you might find that maybe adding in some sleep supplements such as magnesium and zinc, that might help, I'd say. But then looking at kind of, is there any triggers? When you get up, is there anything that's kind of the same? Is it the same time that you're waking up? What time?
Well, I go to bed at 9:30 because I get up at 5:30.
Yeah.
1:30.
And it's always 1:30.
I could go to bed at midnight and I'd still wake up at 1:30.
And maybe looking at what's going on around that time, and maybe things in your house that might be happening that are triggering it. There's a lot of things that might happen subconsciously at that 1:30.
Yeah, but I've been like it forever. I can't remember sleeping through the night.
Interesting.
I think it's because I've had this.
Sorry.
Well, sorry,
I was going to
please
say, like I'm
say.
saying, I'm like 3. I sleep for less than 5 hours every night.
So we all have our genetic disposition to how long we sleep. Some people fall asleep a lot easier, some people fall asleep a lot harder. And then again, the actual chemicals, so our zinc and magnesium, they might be slightly out of balance. It's a lot easier to tell nowadays than it was a couple of years ago. So I would recommend adding that magnesium in, maybe adding some zinc in, really trying to do your best to reduce any screen time completely. If you've got blue light, it's a really, really good way of making sure our body completely decompresses. But looking at things that happen all the time, that's where your chemical imbalances are probably.
So with screens, is it TV as well? Because I go to bed and have my iPad and be reading on it, so reading a novel on my iPad, so that's not good.
It's not good, so if you need to do it, see if you can get a blue light. So glasses, for example, mine have got blue light in them. So if I have to look at a screen, I've got them on, and it's going to make sure that I'm not getting that blue light, because that is what stimulates our brain to keep firing. So it's why if you go to London, Piccadilly, screens everywhere, and that's why you always feel awake, and that's what they do. The blue light is keeping you switched on all the time. So you kind of want to make sure that blue light is limited as well.
I changed my alarm clock, so when my phone used to be charged by my bed, so I've moved over to the other side of the bedroom, and I've got one of those Illumi alarm
The daylight
clocks.
ones, the daylight ones are really
good, and you wake up feeling much more natural.
It's a natural wake up,
it's really good, yeah.
Really good. Daylight alarm clocks.
Is it like the bedroom then? Is that what it does? What does it
Yeah,
mean?
it's sort of, well, if you set it for 7 or whatever, and then it'll gradually brighten up the room, even though it like
a sunrise.
Sunrise,
Like
yeah.
Oh.
It's
Very
really
clever.
nice, and you can actually have bird song on it if you
Oh,
want.
yeah. Although my husband might not be impressed.
The thing is, I don't like having my phone in the room, so I put it outside on the console table. But my husband, he'll be checking his phone in the middle of the night.
I know.
And I'm feeling I can.
Yes.
Yeah, it is annoying. My husband has his phone back.
Yeah, you always have a iPad.
We found with my little one, it was our boiler kicking in with the hot water at 2 o'clock. We didn't realise the schedule. She was waking up at 2 o'clock, and it's actually, she can hear the boiler kicking in to do with the tank of hot water. Until I actually sat there and listened, because I was having to get up with her, it was then, when I was waking up 10 minutes before, then I realised you can actually hear the pilot light.
They might be like ever so slight little
It's
things.
the slightest thing, because there's a small lighting thermostat that lights up the staircase, and if her door's open, it actually just that small slither of light in her room. So we've then put a sticker on the thermostat and changed the schedule on the boiler. Now she goes 3 to 5. But it's the smallest thing. For 6 weeks, could not figure out why she was waking up at 2 o'clock.
I have to say that the magnesium is brilliant.
Do you take it?
Yeah.
Do you mind
Yeah.
asking which one?
Which one do I
Because
take?
there are so
Toby?
many.
You take the March on
Yeah.
sleep supplement.
March
Yeah.
on sleep.
Oh, yeah, because that's the protein that you like here.
Yes.
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 But it's got ashwagandha in it as well.
Oh, I love ashwagandha.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's a good
And
one. I
although-
take the sleep supplement
I
from
still
March
wake
on as
up.
well, and it
Because my bladder wakes
keeps
me.
me.
Oh, so does mine.
Yeah. So I still wake up, but I go back to sleep.
So I don't go back to sleep. I'll get up
Yeah.
at 3 o'clock,
No,
quarter
I'll
past
go back
3.
to sleep.
I don't go. Yeah.
Yeah. So it definitely.
It does work.
Yeah, it does work.
So the Marchons.
So there you go.
Sleep.
And you have to take it an hour and a half before you go to bed then.
Okay.
7:30.
Any other questions?
Yeah,
So
I'm
what, you know what my problem is I actually can't move.
Yes.
So, and then I am going to try and come in a couple of times a week just to do the bike session. But when I sit down all day, that day, I have got standing, yes, but then I can't stand so many at a time. Is there anything else, I can't even walk very far.
Yeah.
What else can I do? Do I do stretching or?
Can you sit on the ball? Sorry, just because I sit on a ball at work, not a little one, a big
Oh,
one.
right, yeah.
I sit on one of those, yeah, because I
It helps
have a really bad habit of crossing my legs
Yeah.
and my babies go. So I've got a ball and I sit on that. And
Okay.
It's much
Oh,
better.
you can get like those ball chairs, can't you?
Well, this is just one of the physio balls.
Yeah.
The big ones like you sit on when you're giving birth and stuff.
Okay.
So I sit on one of those, but it actually, you do engage your core more, but then I've got footrest because I've got little legs and I find I can wedge it, so I'm
So-
not using it, but
I'd say any kind of way you can almost cheat the system. So, as I said, the body doesn't know what's going on. It's really, we can kind of distinguish between what's running, what's rowing, what's cycling. The body doesn't. It just knows it's moving. So, as Kerry said, if you sit on a ball and you just go around, you're still moving.
Yeah.
You're still engaging. Then you're getting the blood flow moving. If you get up and walk, good one. You see the arm. I know that might seem silly, but you see the arm pedalers like this, and it's almost like the exact same sensation as biking with your feet, but you're using your arms.
Alright.
You're still promoting that upper body to move.
Okay.
So any way in which you can get movement in is great.
Right.
And even if it might seem silly, it isn't. I guarantee you, there's probably thousands of people that have done things that might be considered more silly out there. I think a study done, someone lost 10 kilos just hula hooping.
Wow.
So if you can do it hula hooping, you can do it doing anything.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you. So yeah, but the mental ball is a really good one. And also, as Kerry said, using your core,
Yeah.
keeping yourself upright.
Yeah.
And it's going to help.
Being nosy because I bounce. Yeah.
Oh, I need to get one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those cycle things, so it's just like a little bicycle thing. Okay.
Get from Argos.
Okay.
You know what you do at home.
No, sadly not.
It's just keeping moving though, isn't it? Getting the blood flow
Yeah.
going.
And also the fresh air.
Yeah.
Try and make sure if you're near a window, get some ventilation in. It's really, really important, that fresh air. Just breathing it in reduces your cortisol immediately. Just brings it down, de-stresses you, it keeps everything kind of in check. It's one of the things that, again, that's why London has such a high stress rate, because there's no fresh air, or there's very little fresh air in London compared to when we're out here and we've got all this green space. There's no more. We're all done. Pleasure. I hope that was okay for you.
That's very good.
Yeah, thank you very much, Toby.
I've learned about my alcohol.
Yeah.
I used to always think, I better go to the gym because we're going out drinking.
But see,
Yeah.
that's why John doesn't
I know,
recover.
I've got to go to the gym because we're going out drinking.
Because